Is Christmas pagan? For many decades, it has been a well-established fact that Christmas is indeed rooted in paganism. Yet in recent years, I've noticed a growing trend of teachers, preachers, and even social media influencers claiming that Christmas doesn't have pagan origins. What's amazing is how convincingly they seem to be. When you listen to them, when you read what they write, and watch their presentations, it's easy to think they are telling the truth. This has inspired me to create this video and provide you with a clear review of how Christmas truly has pagan origins. I also want to expose how some of the content you're seeing, you're hearing, and reading may be leading you away from the truth. Hello there! Welcome back to Becoming Christian's channel. My name is Joshua and I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss our future eye-opening videos. Is Christmas pagan? I did a quick search on this and check out the Google results that I got. On top of the search engine result page, you immediately get an answer, no, Christmas is not a pagan holiday. You can continue and read the answer from Google Search Labs AI overview. Now, if you're going to scroll down the Google search results, you'll see a lot of articles that says it is not pagan. We have from Catholic Answers, Pagan Christmas, nope, that's the #1 top result. Then we have from the Gospel Coalition, Christmas isn't pagan. Answers from Genesis of an article, was Christmas pagan? And other attacks on Christmas. Then we finally come to the secular results. Britannica asks a question, does Christmas have pagan roots? The answer is, in ancient Rome, December 25 was a celebration of the unconquered sun, marking the return of longer days. It followed Saturnalia, a festival where people feasted and exchanged gifts. The church in Rome began celebrating Christmas on December 25 in the 4th century during the reign of Constantine, the first Christian emperor, possibly to weaken pagan traditions. Now, let's go back to the search result. We have here an article from the History Channel which gives us the correct historical background of Christmas. Under the article, History of Christmas, we read, how did Christmas start? The middle of winter has long been a time of celebration around the world. Centuries before the arrival of the man called Jesus, early Europeans celebrated light and birth in the darkest days of winter. Many peoples rejoiced during the winter solstice when the worst of the winter was behind them, and they could look forward to longer days and extended hours of sunlight. In Scandinavia, the Norse celebrated Yule from December 21, the winter solstice through January. In recognition of the return of the sun, fathers and sons would bring home large logs which they would set up on fire. The people would feast until the log burned out, which could take as many as 12 days. The Norse believed that each spark from the fire represented a new pig or calf that would be born during the coming year. The end of December was a perfect time for celebration in most areas of Europe. At the time of the year, most cattle were slaughtered so they would not have to be fed during the winter. For many, it was the only time of the year when they had a supply of fresh meat. In addition, most wine and beer made during the year was finally fermented and ready for drinking. In Germany, people honored the pagan god Odin during the mid-winter holiday. Germans were terrified of Odin as they believed he made nocturnal flights through the sky to observe his people and then decide who would prosper or perish. Because of his presence, many people chose to stay inside. Saturnalia and Christmas. In Rome, where winters were not as harsh as those in far north, Saturnalia, a holiday in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture, was celebrated. Beginning the week leading up to the winter solstice and continuing for a full month, Saturnalia was a hedonistic time when food and drink were plentiful and the normal Roman social order was turned upside down. For a month, Enslaved people were given temporary freedom and treated as equals. Business and schools were closed so that everyone could participate in the holidays' festivities. Also around the time of winter solstice, Romans observed Juvenalia, a feast honoring the children of Rome. In addition, members of the upper classes often celebrated the birthday of who? Of Mithra, the god of the unconquerable sun, on December 25. It was believed that Mithra, an infant god, was born of a rock. For some Romans, Mithra's birthday was the most sacred day of the year. Now, is Christmas really the day Jesus was born? In the early years of Christianity, Easter was the main holiday. The birth of Jesus was not celebrated. In the 4th century, church officials decided to institute the birth of Jesus as a holiday. Unfortunately, the Bible does not mention date for his birth, a fact Puritans later pointed out in order to deny the legitimacy of the celebration. Although some evidence suggests that Jesus' birth may have been occurred in the spring, why would shepherds be herding in the middle of the winter? Pope Julius I chose December 25. It is commonly believed that the church chose this date in an effort to adopt and absorb the traditions of the pagan Saturnalia festival. First called the Feast of Nativity, the custom spread to Egypt by 432 and to England by the end of the 6th century. By holding Christmas at the same time as traditional winter solstice festivals, church leaders increased the chances that Christmas would be popularly embraced, but gave up the ability to dictate how it was celebrated. By the Middle Ages, Christianity had, for the most part, replaced pagan religion. So, that's what the History Channel would describe as the origin of Christmas. Now, the History Channel is not the only source you can go to when learning about the pagan roots of Christmas. You can go through respected encyclopedias and other sources, and you'll soon realize how pagan Christmas is. If you wish to learn more, you may want to read the book 4,000 Years of Christmas, a gift from the ages. The book highlights the ancient midwinter festivals across cultures such as Saturnalia in Rome, Yule in Scandinavia, and the worship of Mithra. These celebrations already existed long before the birth of Christ. The book outlines how early Christian leaders sought to Christianize popular pagan festivals to make conversion easier for pagans. December 25, associated with the birthday of Mithra and the Roman solstice festivals, was chosen as the date to celebrate Christ's birth, though the Bible does not specify his actual birthday. As you can see, early Christians did not celebrate Jesus' birth at all. It wasn't until centuries later that December 25 was chosen to Christianize pagan festivals. This blending of traditions was never instructed by God. Instead, it was a compromise with the culture of the time. Now, you might ask the question, if it's pagan, why do Christians keep it? Here's where it gets tricky. Many Christians know about Christmas' pagan origins but still celebrate it. The reasoning? We don't celebrate it for its pagan meaning. We celebrate for Jesus. That's what they say. It's an argument that sounds good on the surface, but let's examine it biblically. God doesn't accept recycled paganism. Throughout the Bible, God repeatedly tells us his people to avoid adopting pagan practices in worship. Deuteronomy 12 verse 30-31 warns, "Do not inquire after their gods, saying, 'How did this nation serve their gods?' I also will do likewise. You shall not worship the Lord your God in that way, for every abomination to the Lord which he hates, they have done to their gods." Does this sound like God is okay with us taking pagan customs, slapping the Jesus label on them, and calling it holy? No! God is clear. He does not want his people to worship him in ways borrowed from false religions. God doesn't leave us guessing about how to worship him. Leviticus 23 outlines the festivals God ordained, holy days that teach us about his plan of salvation. These festivals like Passover, Pentecost, the Feast of Tabernacles are rich with spiritual meaning. They point to Jesus Christ and His work in our lives. Why do we have to substitute God's festivals with a holiday He never commanded? Especially one rooted in paganism. Even if you're not convinced by the fact that Christmas has pagan origins, here are more reasons to reconsider why you should not celebrate Christmas. Number one, it's not in the Bible. There's no biblical command to celebrate Christ's birth, let alone on December 25. If it were important, wouldn't God have told us? Number two, it's a commercial holiday. Christmas has become more about consumerism than Christ. The pressure to spend, decorate, and outdo others can distract from the true purpose of worshiping God. Number three, it's spiritually misleading. Many think celebrating Christmas is a sign of devotion to Jesus, but in reality, it often pulls people into traditions that have nothing to do with Him. By participating, we might unknowingly validate false narratives about His birth and life. And finally, number four, it's a teaching opportunity. By not celebrating Christmas, you have the chance to explain your faith and point others to God's truth. It's a way to stand out and encourage others to question traditions. God calls us to worship Him in spirit and truth. That's John 4, verse 24. This means honoring Him the way He commands, not the way we think feels good or culturally acceptable. Instead of clinging to a holiday rooted in paganism, why not embrace God's holidays? They are filled with meaning, with blessings and reminders of His great love and plan for us. Now, choosing not to celebrate Christmas can feel countercultural. It may even cause tensions with family and friends. But when we prioritize God's commands over man-made traditions, we honor Him above all else. So, is Christmas pagan? The evidence is clear. It is. But the choice is yours. Will you continue blending truth with tradition? Or will you take a stand for God's pure and holy ways? Let's remember the words of Joshua. Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. With that, I hope I was able to give you a better understanding of what Christmas truly is. Before you go, I would like to offer you a free Bible study guide entitled The Great Christmas Hoax. In this booklet, I go deeper into the history of Christmas, why Christians should not celebrate it, and how to properly worship God. I highly recommend you request your free copy by going to the description box and clicking on the download link. That's it for me. I'm Josh Infantado of Becoming Christians, and I pray that Yahweh will bless us with His love, truth, and grace. See you next time. Hello friends, I need your help. If this is not too much to ask, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. This should only take 5 seconds of your time. But this simple gesture would help me reach more people and share the Word of God with the rest of the world. You have the power to make a difference in people's lives.